Hello, and welcome to week number 6 of Intro to Theater Online. I am, as always, your professor, Andrew Friedman. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that you all had great success on your midterm exam, which you are taking as I am recording this. And in this week, we move into slightly different territory. For this week, you will be reading chapters 10 and 11. Chapter 10 is on the play, and chapter 11 is a chapter that takes place backstage at the production of the two-character play. And that chapter has something quite special in it, which is a series of videos taken by the author of the textbook, Dr. Michael O'Hara, who also directed that production here at Ball State University. So in that chapter, you really get the opportunity to walk through more or less the entire process of creating a theatrical production. And I think this is valuable because hopefully as you're beginning to see throughout this course, that when you go down and sit down and watch a production of Sister Act or Hamilton or any other great play, Death of a Salesman, Midsummer Night's Dream, what you see from your seat in the audience is only a fraction of all the work that goes on to create the production. And you're beginning to get some hands-on experience with this in having to write your own play and having to come up with your own design concepts. And so when you're watching this production unfold in chapter 12, I'd like you to keep your design concepts in mind. And keep in mind, what types of questions are they asking in these videos or are raised by this production that you also asked in your design process? Would your design fit or not fit for this type of production? So now that you've tried your hand at a variety of different responsibilities in the theater, think about how you would engage with this production process that you're about to watch. And that's chapter 12. I'm sorry, chapter 11, excuse me, chapter 11. In chapter 10 on the play, that chapter is thinking about the longer historical context of drama, of dramatic literature, of the forces that have influenced plays over time. And that chapter is going to directly feed into your major assignment for this week, the theater history assignment, in which you will be demonstrating your understanding of the development of theater history. And when we think about things like theater history, we're not just simply talking about, Mary wrote a play, and then John wrote a play, and then Frank wrote a play, and Sarah wrote a play. One of the things that we think about in theater history are all of the forces, economic forces, social forces, artistic forces, natural forces, that influence the creation of theater, right? What are the components that influence how theater is made? For instance, there were tremendous changes in the history of theatrical production once electricity was invented, right? Prior to this, we had real limitations about what we could show or how we could show something in the theater. And if we think about something we're probably a little more familiar with in our own lives, this is also true of the history of film and television, correct? Now, I don't know the age of all of you, but I'm sure some of you are old enough to remember the age of television before the internet, before streaming, when you would have to wait and tune in to watch the new episode of whatever show you were interested in, and it would only be broadcast that one time, that one day of the week. And now, given the influence of things like the internet and our ability to stream content at our at our liking whenever we want to watch it, that form itself has also changed, right? It's had tremendous changes on the types of television that's being made, the way that it's being distributed, the types of stories that are being told, and where they're being told, and who's getting a chance to tell them. So that's one kind of simple way that we can see that the changes in technology have had tremendous changes on the art form of television and movies. So when you're reading that chapter, I want you to think about and keep in mind the ways in which historical forces, and that's a big giant term that can include all kinds of stuff, influence the way that theater's made. Theater was made differently by Oscar Wilde than Shakespeare versus the ancient Greeks versus Tennessee Williams and August Wilson and more contemporary playwrights as well. So in addition to this thing of thinking, okay, this is a creative artist and they have these ideas and they have these interests, what forces outside of the artist influence the artist? So that's all for this week. Please read chapters 10 and 11, complete the quiz and the theater history assignment, and read those directions carefully there. There are a few different components involved in that assignment. I wish you the best of luck, and as always, if you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. Until next week,